Welcome to Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. In the news, the Sulphur Springs City Council took no action Monday night concerning the city's Public Safety Director, Jay Sanders, who was placed on administrative leave at the end of last week. The council spent 40 minutes in executive session. Sanders oversees both the city police and fire departments. Sanders was placed on leave because he was said to be involved in an ongoing investigation by another agency. Captain Jason Ricketson is currently heading up the police department, and Assistant Chief Tim Vaughn the fire department, both on an interim basis. At a Monday meeting, the Hopkins County Commissioners Court took action that will provide $1 million in road repair funds in the county. Each precinct will be receiving $250,000. To make the budget transfer, the court had to pass a resolution citing emergency conditions in the county due to great damage done to county roads by flooding back in September and October. Road repair projects are expected to begin soon. Also at Hopkins County Commissioners Court on Monday, County Fire Chief Andy Inslee in the court gave special recognition to the North Hopkins Volunteer Fire Department for their outstanding effort and dedication in providing protection for citizens in Hopkins County and their property. Chief Inslee has plans to recognize a different fire department each month as part of the 20th anniversary of the Hopkins County Fire Department. He said the recognition is a way to honor the many volunteers who work alongside county firefighters. The North Hopkins Fire Chief is Bobby Harris. The North Hopkins Fire Department was set up in 1976.
We entertained a group in town promoting not only Scarborough Fair and Waxahachie during May and the Shadow Ranch Renaissance Festival in Sulphur Springs this July, but a fundraiser for Shadow Ranch. It's called Ch.18, and that's set for Sunday, March 31st, and you can attend. It is a costumed event. Let's find out more.
My name is Marquis Dunnan.
And I am the Marquis of Glencoe.
Okay. You are here for... you will be here now for Renaissance Festival, which we're going to talk about later in the summer. Mm-hmm. This high tea is a fundraiser for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Shield Maiden, tell us more.
Well, we have a high tea event coming up this Sunday at 3 o'clock at the venue at 219 on Main Street. Tickets are still available. You can get them online at shadowrenfest.com, or you can go to Pioneer Cafe or Sulphur Springs Sign Shop and get your tickets at either place. You can even call the sign shop at 903-885-7500 if you have some questions. I'll be out for today doing some marketing and things like that, so tomorrow might be a better time. But tickets will be there, and Pioneer is open till what time?
2 o'clock.
Till 2 o'clock. So you are in the sign shop is open till 5. So you have some.
So our two more quizzes are from out of town.
Aye.
And will they be at high tea?
Aye.
Oh, absolutely.
Come and
Actually,
tell
my
us.
lovely bride and I are catering the event.
Come closer and tell us more.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a traditional Scottish high tea. So we're going to be serving meat pies of some variety, depending on what my mood is when we get up Sunday morning to come up. We're also doing a couple of types of scones. We'll be doing tots, jam tots, cucumber sandwich. Well, I think the cucumber sandwiches got nixed. But I think there'll be a couple of different sandwich varieties, and we're also going to be doing tea cookies, and it's going to be one of the things where you can actually get involved and talk to some of the members of the board, and you can talk to some of the characters and kind of get an idea of what we're doing for the fair in the spring. And it's also a fundraiser to help us and help the Shadow Ranch Therapeutic Riding Center.
Okay, absolutely. Very good. And you already know Barbara Palmer, whom we introduced otherwise, but Paul, you have your Pioneer Cafe downtown.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are part of this group.
Yes, ma'am.
And so how did you come to be costumed such as you are?
Well, I was trying to figure out what might be a good costume for me, and somebody said maybe a tavern owner.
Yeah.
And so I kind of went with half wench, half gypsy.
Okay.
Actually, what we said was you need to be the Miss Kitty of the Renaissance period.
Yes, that was
exactly what we said.
So I have a question about high tea. I love teas. I love the whole concept of sitting down to tea. High tea, probably people have some misconceptions on what that is, but I thought it was English, and was it really Scottish? Or is it really?
It all depends on who you talk to. It all depends on who you talk to, whether you're Scottish or English. However,
Are we still in a feud?
I always. In fact, the next vote goes down when. But for the Scottish high tea, the idea behind it is that that we were going to come in because we brought our Scottish characters for fun last year to the fair.
Okay.
And so when we came and we had a great time, and we got, it's a rabbit hole, and so we jumped down the rabbit hole, and here we are. And so we wanted to have an opportunity to do a experience that most people don't get on the daily basis. So it will be a formal tea.
Okay.
And so people with Renaissance garb can dress up in their finery. And if you don't have Renaissance garb, it's Sunday church clothes or better.
Okay.
And there'll be 10 or 15 different teas, loose teas, bag teas, and then we'll do, the great thing is our partners at Finesse Farm are going to come in and do a wine tasting at the end.
Right at the
so
end.
you'll get a full experience of what happens at a high tea, and then the bonus plan afterwards.
The bonus plan is what makes it Scottish.
Okay. Now,
I've been to a high tea before, and they're really nice.
I love the whole idea of it. And to my knowledge, it's the first time we've done something at all like that in Sulphur Springs, so it's new for us.
I think so.
And the public can get invited by dressing up and coming out. Now, I want to hear more from the Marquis of Dunnan. Come closer to the mic and tell us how you come to dress this way and what is it you do in this character.
Well, this all started at the Scarborough Fair.
Okay.
And then Waxahachie. And we started out as Highlanders, and we graduated up to the Queen's Guard. And so during the Renaissance Festival in Scarborough, we walk and assist the Queen as she goes about her business. And
I see. Okay.
This is something we have acquired over quite a long time of a garb.
Okay.
So this is not something you can get in a weekend.
For those who are just listening on radio, these two royal-looking costumes that you guys have on in your headgear, one has a feather and the other has some feathers, different kind of feathers. They're just, wow. And the plaid in the scarf and all that, and then your medals and the big wide belts. It's very impressive. Where are you? Well, I'll ask you that at the end of the interview. So, high tea this Sunday, March 31st, and you guys will be there.
Aye.
And bringing some other friends. Sorry.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
And then we are getting ready for Shadow Renaissance Festival that you pitched in and got helped us get off the ground last year. It turned out to be a big success, Chris.
Yes, we were very fortunate. It was something that was kind of thrown together in just a few months, and that's how I met Jason and Jack both, and they were both gracious enough to jump on the roller coaster with us. And so this year is going to be so much bigger, so much grander than last year. Last year we just had an idea of what a Ren Fair might be. This year we're actually having a real Ren Fair, and so it'll be a lot of fun. And we encourage people to get out of their day-to-day lives and dress up. Like Barbara and I, we have no idea what we're doing, but we're doing it a piece at a time. And it's a lot of fun, like just doing something different, being somebody different for a day or two. So I hope everybody gets encouraged to go to Goodwill and find a bunch of stuff and throw it together and see what kind of character they can come up with.
Well, it's not particularly any definite etiquette that you have to do about what kind of costuming, what color of plaids or whatever. Just have fun with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. No one's going to be judging you on that.
No, and typically what happens is, unless you're involved with the royal court, or if you're involved with any particular group that will have costuming requirements, but we're not going to be that serious. We would just like the people to come and experience the fair for what it is and enjoy what a fair is supposed to be, which is come and suspending reality for a weekend and becoming a shield maiden or a tavern boss or a Scotsman and just enjoy yourself.
I like that term, suspending reality.
And it's so fun to dress up.
That's what dress up is.
Somebody else, yes.
Dress up and sit down to tea. Okay, so the event that we're mostly talking about is this Sunday's high tea. You can still get tickets, as Chris was saying.
Absolutely. And we'll even, if we have tickets still available on Sunday, you can come in and get tickets then.
Okay.
And, and just so everybody knows, it's $25. So if you think about how much it costs just to go to a wine tasting, it's usually $20 to $30.
Okay.
So you get wine, a meal, you get entertainment. And you can have a good time.
What I want to know, when I sit down to something, will I be served at the table?
No.
Okay.
We're trying to make it a social event, and a lot of times if people sit at a table, they're just going to sit at their table.
I see.
We want people to mingle and get around and talk to other people and get, kind of outside of their day-to-day norm. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, and then I want you also to give us an invitation to Scarborough Fair, which is in the spring?
Scarborough begins in 2 weekends, and it runs from the first weekend of April until the end of May.
Wow.
And it's 8 weekends. I would recommend going early, depending on your costume requirements, because it gets pretty warm in court garb and gowns and all of that by the end of the season. But and one of the things that we like to do, because Jack and I are both ex-military, is we actually wear our BDU kilts and blouses and stuff on Memorial Day, because they have a big Veterans Memorial Day service.
Amazing. Very amazing. Well, you have blessed us with your appearance here this morning in Sulphur Springs. I know you're getting ready to do many things. You do this like all year round in other events that come your way.
And be careful, Sulphur Springs, because we're going to be out and about today. So if you see a bunch of strange-looking people,
that's us.
That's us. Stop by, say hi. And I want to remind people that Shadow Renaissance Festival is 100%. Everything we do is charity. It goes to Shadow Ranch Therapeutic Riding Center. None of us are paid. We all do this out of the love and good of our hearts, and we work really hard to do it. And it's the only Renaissance Festival in North America that is run solely as a charity, and that's why we keep the prices so low. We're not trying to make millions of dollars. We're trying to keep the doors open.
Wonderful.
So it's a charity event.
Thank you for what you do. So Chris Cobb and Barbara Palmer, local business owners, and Jack and Jason, visitors to our town today. If you see them, be sure and stop and say hello.
Please do.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will see you on Sunday at
the venue at 219.
The venue at 219.
3 o'clock.
Is about how many will be seated there?
It can fit 125, and if we can get 125, we will be very grateful.
Okay, wonderful.
So,
thank you all for coming in today.
Thank you.
In sports, the Lady Cats soccer team fell behind 2-0 to Athens in a playoff warm-up game at Gerald Prim Stadium Monday evening, but then rallied in the game's final 24 minutes, scoring twice to tie the match 2-2. Athens scored the first half's only goal at 23:20 on a long, accurate shot. The Lady Cats came close to tying the score in the first half, but Haley Robinson hit the crossbar with a shot. Then Athens went up 2-0 on a header into the net after a corner kick in the second half. The goal seemed to energize the Lady Cats. Less than 4 minutes later, at 20:14, Janine Yamaguchi scored for the Lady Cats. She broke away from the defense, went in on the keeper, and put the ball into the net. The Lady Cats then got the equalizer at 10:26. After a corner kick, the Lady Cats kept the ball in front of the net. Eventually, it found its way to Bailey Arrington, who kicked the ball into the net. McKenna Gamble preserved the tie with a diving stop of an Athens shot with just 6:04 left to play. It was one of several diving stops by Gamble on the night. The Lady Cats in Athens ended the evening with each side taking 8 practice penalty kicks. Lady Cats coach Joel Bailey was glad that his team could get back onto the field. They've not played since March 19th, which was senior night against Royce City. The Lady Cats will play Hallsville Friday at 6 p.m. at Mount Pleasant's Sam Parker Field in a by-district match. The Lady Cats' last trip there was on March 8th, as the Lady Cats won in dramatic fashion over Mount Pleasant on penalty kicks. Wildcats golf team played in a tournament at Paris Country Club on Monday. That Paris course will be the site of the district tournament next week. We get more from Wildcats golf coach Chris Owens.
Played well, ended up second place. Team shot a 314. Carter Lewis led them off with a 75. Colton Bench with a 78. Andrew Escobar with a 78. Kip Childress with an 83, and Grant Maheski with a 91. So I was pleased with that. We can shave a few of those strokes off and have a chance for a district title. So we go back April 1st and 2nd for district, and then hopefully we can, shave a few strokes off and compete with Texas High for the championship. So I was pleased with the way guys played yesterday. I do believe we do have a few more strokes that we can shave off. And the kids do too, so they know. But I was pleased with the way we played. 3 guys in the 70s. Very happy with that. Thought we overall played well.
Is a district next for you now, I guess?
Yes, sir. Monday and Tuesday, April 1st and 2nd. So we'll go back over there and do it then.
Who aced you out there? Who got first?
First place kid from Texas High won the tournament as a team.
Okay.
Kid from Ryan Goolsby from Mount Pleasant played really well. Shot a 68 yesterday, so he's a good player.
Yeah.
And he actually, he left some strokes out there too. I was talking to his coach, and he could have really shot 65 probably. But anyway, kid played well, and it's a good little venue.
So it sounded like Texas High kind of threw down the gauntlet there for your team to get for district.
Oh yeah. It's they're always good and competitive, and but I think we're within reach if we play well.
3 Wildcats powerlifters competed at the state meet this past weekend in Abilene. We learned more from Wildcats powerlifting coach Casey Jeter.
Friday and Saturday, we went up there Friday with all 3 of them, and Coach G went with us, and we got there and weighed in on Friday. All the boys made weight. Oscar Yanez in the 114s, Carson Bridges in the 181s, and George Greenway in the 198s. Next day, competition started at 8:45. Highly competitive. I think every year the state meet grows. We were talking about it probably going to have to be a 2-day event next year with the size and just the competition level. One of the things that we saw was, all 3 guys competed. They competed well. They made it through their meet. They got their openers. It's always a shock to see the strength and everything that's going on at the meet. I'm pretty sure they had, 16 platforms for Division I, Division II, and Division III. So the guys getting to see that performance and them announcing every time someone's going to break a state record, and everybody's looking and checking it out. And but it was fun to see. And like I said, our guys competed well. For the big show. We got to see some great records broke. There was a 114-pound kid that deadlifted 470 pounds. Wow. There was a 148 that bench pressed 425 pounds. Just crazy weight being pushed around there. Oscar did real good in the 114s. He finished, I believe, 16th. Which is top 20 in the state. Just a great accomplishment. Carson Bridges finished 18th in the 181s, and George Greenway finished in the top 20. So these guys, that's top 20 in the state of Texas, and I just could not be more proud of these guys and the hard work they've put in over the years.
What's the outlook for your team as far as who you'll lose and coming back and all that for you?
Well, Oscar and Carson are 2 big losses. They've lifted for me for a long time because they're both seniors and they're graduating and moving on. George Greenaway's coming back, and he's got plans to win the whole meet next year.
Wow.
So, and yeah, it's good. And with his growth and the way he's been growing over the last few years and his work ethic, I think he'll achieve that. I really hope he does. Other than that, we've got a lot of strong lifters. Several guys that went to regionals with us. Jesse Carrillo's one of them. Ryan Carrillo's the other one. They both don't know how strong they are yet, and will probably have the chance of going to state next year also.
All right. All good. I know it's always great when it ends up with you taking kids to state.
Yes, sir. It is. It absolutely is. So that little 2-week extension to the piloting season is always a blast. So I'm really proud of my guys and thankful for all the hard work they put in.
9 Wildcats competed at the Jesuit Sheener Relays this past weekend in Dallas. Lady Cats track coach Derek Tyson was the one that took those Wildcats to Dallas, and he tells us more.
It was a positive day, and it was announced several times at Jesuit, which is a premier meet. And not just the state, there are some out-of-state kids that will come run in that meet because of the level of competition. But it's a great learning experience for some and for all, but at the same time, we had some kids that did really well. I know Jeremiah didn't get a PR, but he ended up getting second in the high jump with a 6.2, and the weather got into his head just a little bit, but I think it was a learning experience from that point of view where he knows he's got more in the tank, but he did well enough against the competition. He ended up coming down to the last 2 with a guy coming in that was a 6.7 jumper. And that particular morning, probably because of the weather as well, he was a 6.4. So I was extremely proud of him. I know Eli came in and vaulted and didn't get the results he wanted, but once again, a learning experience, even from pole selection for him. So when you go against that level of competition, you see what they're doing. You can also see some of the elites and mimic some of their actions. And so that was one of the things that I tried to push amongst our guys is watch what everybody else is doing. The girls ended up going to Van Wednesday, which was good. The level of competition on the girls' side at Jesuit in my 25 years of being involved with track, it was the high. I've never seen a field that high. One thing about Jesuit different than that of the guys is they split the guys 5A, 6A. The girls, they don't. And it was amazing. So the competition was great. And then, finally we get to, I thought our 800 Nabian, he ran a 2:04, which once again, I don't think it was a PR, but it was a great learning experience. They actually had 2 heats of that, and he won his heat. Feel like if he had somebody else pushing him, he probably could have PR'd. But it was kind of fun to watch them look around and see the caliber of athlete that you saw, the Lancasters, the DeSotos, just some phenomenal athletes. And then, finally we get to Landry, who ended up qualifying for the finals, qualified 6th, and then ended up medaling, getting 3rd. Really proud of his performance. We were able to sit down, particularly as his hurdle coach, and go, okay, you just attacked the first half of the race with an 18.6. Our goal is to be hard to get a negative split in that and get the second half lower than that, but if we could get 19 or 20, now he's a competitor to maybe actually advance to the state meet after regionals. But the good news is you ran against your regional competition. And him qualifying 6th and then medaling with a 3rd place finish, I was real proud of him because he beat 3 people that beat him in the prelims. And so just having that kind of focus and having that kind of, he's got some work to do, but he's in shape enough to be able to run 2 competitive 300 hurdles in one day. And so you learn some aspects from that, just like those other guys learned that, hey, I got some work to do too. So having the opportunity to go to that meet and compete at that level is extraordinary for our kids. And now as we go into district, which is the week after this, it'll be the 3rd and 4th on Wednesday and Thursday, we know what we got to do to get to the next level. Now the guys that we took, we expect that they're going to get out and make it at least to the area meet and probably to the regional meet. So they now know what they have to do to compete at that level, and they're going to have approximately 3 weeks to get that work done. And so the timing of the Jesuit meet, everything is really good for all the competitors, and especially us, to know where we have to be. So it's exciting stuff. I was real happy we went. We got wet, but by the end of the day, it was all worth it. So.
How'd the distance guys do? I know a couple of them did the 3,200, 1,600. I think some of them Friday night.
They did the 3,200 Friday night, and like I said, another learning experience. Kind of finished in the middle of the pack there. There was two of them, and Landon Thornton and Christian Palomino ran the 1,600, and kind of the same stuff. Just middle of the pack. But probably once again learn what they need to do. I think even Christian said, "Hey, I got to get in better shape," But he's a two-sport athlete that plays soccer too, who's in the playoffs. And then, Landon knows that what he's got to work on to compete at that level too. So once again, these are guys that we know are very confident anyway that are going to get out of district and still have that chance to compete at those higher levels as we move through area and regionals. And I thought everybody did a good job as far as their competition, and as far as when they finish, it wasn't vast disappointment. It was, okay, this is what I need to do next. And when you're coaching, that's what you're looking for. You're not going to be successful all the time, but what are you going to learn when you're not to the point that you think you should be? And from those 9 kids, that's what I saw. It's a privilege and an honor to coach that kind of kid who knows, okay, here's what I need to do next. And it's exciting stuff. And so I'm definitely ready to go to work to get prepared for district. And like I said, I think within our district, we're going to have several on both sides, girls and boys, that are going to have an opportunity to move on.
Wildcats and the Lady Cats track teams will be competing at a Sunnyvale meet this Thursday. That's Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. Thank you for joining me, and so long, everybody.